with him, when he explained viral vectors to me, and I understood this, what I just told you, my head practically exploded. I didn't want to sit on a board. I didn't want to mentor anybody. I wanted to cure some diseases. And I told him that day, I said, you know, blind people will see again. Cripples are going to get out of their wheelchairs and walk. The lepers will be healed. This is the stuff of miracles. He was really excited about that. And I said, you know, somebody needs to be the Microsoft of this industry. That he didn't get. But maybe some of you are actually getting that right now. Because again, this is a software revolution for the next 100 years. If you were in the 1960s and got a programming job with digital computers, right? Then you would have had to work for IBM. That was the only one around. Well, today, assuming that you were still mobile and interested in working and hadn't retired because it was a great paying job being a software programmer all that time, you could still get work because that revolution is still on. It's not done yet. Same thing with this. If you're a molecular biologist, if you're a young scientist that's just entering the workforce, this thing is going to take off in a way that you just cannot believe, right? What got PCs in the hands of everybody? What brought the cell phone to everybody? It was the fact that it was an efficient way to meet the needs of individual consumers. That's the same thing that's true about this. So this is going to go everywhere. It won't just end with us curing diseases. What's in the sweet spot of this thing? Well, things like Gaucher's disease. If you're missing one broken gene, how hard is that? You get a lentiviral vector, you order the gene off the internet now. It comes by FedEx in a plasmid. You cut it out and you cut it in viral envelopes and you start experimenting with it, right? That's how far this thing has progressed. And obviously, if you get rid of the broken gene, if you replace it, the cell is normal. So the loss of function that comes from missing that enzyme or protein is mitigated from the driver on up. You are normal, right? How many diseases are like that? Just these monogenic diseases. Of course, you've heard some of them. Hemophilia, you know about that because there's a lot of companies trying to do hemophilia, beta thalassemia, right? There's a whole bunch of monogenic diseases that people are out there treating because it's so darn obvious that it's better to do that than enzyme replacement. You don't need shots every day. If we can do a one and done, just replace the gene where it's needed, right? There's 7,000 of those diseases. They're rare. What does a rare disease mean? I think it's what, under 20,000 a year? What is it? I don't know. Anyway, what's that? 200, okay. Small diseases, right? But if you add up all 7,000 of them, 1 in 10 people has a rare disease. And when you add up all the money that's spent keeping those people comfortable, right? It's not curing the disease, just keeping them comfortable. $2 to $4 trillion a year. The whole pharmaceutical market is only about $1 trillion. This is why Goldman Sachs, has anybody heard of that company? That's why they predicted that this industry is $4 to $5 trillion. And I think they estimated low. You know why? Because I can tell you where you get $3 or $4 trillion of that already from rare disease. They haven't even gotten to cancer, infectious disease, all that stuff. And they haven't gotten to cosmetic use, right? Once again, you might trade in your Lamborghini for having the body and skin and hair and muscle tone of a 20-year-old for the rest of your life, right? Because it truly is better to feel good than to look good. So stepping out of the Lamborghini doesn't do as much for you as actually feeling good. And so there's a lot, the whole healthcare industry today is $10.5 trillion, including those pharmaceuticals. So a lot of it's going to come out of the treatment stuff and go into the pharmaceuticals, and then the pharmaceuticals are going to find our way into life improvement stuff. And remember, why is it that pharmaceuticals haven't grown to more than $1 trillion? Certainly people want solutions. It's that the industry can't deliver them with those old technologies, right? We're paying as much as we can afford for the health care that we're getting. As a matter of fact, it's breaking economies in some places. But if instead of knocking back your cancer, like let's take Avastin as an example. I love beating up on this one. So this is a Roche drug. It's a monoclonal antibody, sells $7 billion a year. If you have a terminal cancer for which it is prescribed, your doctor will offer it to you and your insurance company will pay for it. it'll cost somebody, let's call it society, but your insurance company, $125,000. Who wants to venture a guess? What, if you compare somebody that takes it versus somebody that doesn't take it, what's the extra overall survival for the person that takes it? How much extra time do they get for $125,000? Any guesses?
6 months.
Yeah, see, these are all good guesses, right? The answer is 6 weeks. And there's no guarantees of that. That is just statistically from the phase 3 trials. That's it. The reality of it is that they're selling you nothing but hope. And you can't afford to pay an infinite amount of money for hope. But what if we made a drug that knocked back your cancer for 5 years? Even the US government says your life is worth $100,000 a year in productivity. And that doesn't even include just your joy of living and being with your family and all that stuff. This is just your hardcore productivity in society. If a drug puts you back on the street for 5 years, that's $500,000 worth of value. And remember, you don't need to spend all the money on dying, because if you die of those diseases that Avastin, it usually costs the insurance company somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 for you to die. You get nothing. But if it could be a shot, like I was talking to you about before, and then you walk out and you go back to normal life, paying taxes, paying your insurance premiums, enjoying life, working, producing stuff. Okay, now that is worth a lot. If we do that for $500,000, that's a break even. Why do you buy a computer? Because it looks good? Because you can't live without it? No, because it's an investment, right? It actually makes you more than it costs you. Drugs are going to be like that in the future. That thing that extends your life for 5 to 10 years is going to cost $300,000, and it's going to be a bargain. It's going to be investment in your future, not a cost to the healthcare system. It literally is going to give back more value than it costs.